Hey, 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 guys. Aloha and welcome. Yes, it is Friday. It is time for the weekend to come. I don't know how many of you guys are ready for it, but I'm definitely. Oh, wait, I've got a show tomorrow. Never mind. I've got a craft fair tomorrow at the mall, though, which means I can go shopping during my downtime. It's good. Yes, shopping anytime is good. And also, how you guys doing? It's been a fun. Last night I went out to go see a play with some friends of mine, and we hung out for about an hour after the show, just talking and all that. And I haven't done that in forever, and I really had missed hanging out with all my friends after a show. Oh, I really missed it. So, but anyhow, hello, hello, hello. We've got an interesting subject to talk about today. It's actually something that I kept. Yes, Cassie, are you growling at every? Would you please stop growling? Yes, I gave you a treat. There, eat that treat. See, she's being picky. She's the only dog who will not take a whole treat, but has to have me break them up into little teeny tiny pieces because she's a spoiled brat. That's all she is. But anyhow, how are y'all doing? I was checking out. We had a couple people pop in early today. And I also wanted to say hi to those. We got, of course, Princess Megan. Hello, Princess Megan. And she will be back soon. And then AJ was here, DC, also known as DC. Someday I'm going to remember DC, not AJ, but yeah. In the meantime, either way, he knows who I'm talking about. So, love you, my dear. And yes, he has been asking if we could cover the subject of emotional sobriety. And that was a new one for me. When he brought it up a couple weeks ago, that was a totally new subject to me. I'm not sure how many of you guys have ever heard of that, but it's a really interesting, even though it kind of comes from the addiction field. And there's a lot of bits and pieces of it that I think can fit in all of our lives, which is what was great. That's what today's subject kind of got with me because I think a lot more, while a lot of us deal with depression in general, um, not all of us are in the middle of a major depressive episode. A lot of times we're dealing with just what used to be called just being down or this or that, minor areas, okay, mild to moderate depression, things like that. Maybe we're working day in, day out without a problem, and no one even knows that we're dealing with something inside. And I came across some videos on it. Actually, on my way home from Rome, I came across the first video. And I've been looking at it more and more since then. So, and also, hello, AJ. I promise next week. And then who else do we got? We've got Sleuth Mom, who's right here, nice and ready to go. Thank you, Sleuth. Love you, my dear. And Butterfly Kisses. Hey, hey, hey. And May Not Stick, no problem. Well, you know what's great with this? What we're going to talk about today has stuff that can actually help many of us. And I'm going to kind of dive into this. And as people show up, we all know YouTube takes forever to send out all the notifications and all that. So people will be popping in as time comes in, which they have just done. Hello, Siren. How you doing, Siren? And actually, it'll be interesting. I'm going to mention one herb. Well, actually, wait. Saffron. It's a spice, actually, that a lot of research is showing to help out in these cases. So be interesting to see whether or not you've ever heard anything on these levels, Siren, because with what you do with for a living and all that, are those types of things that you ever have to read up on and stuff. Really interesting stuff. New Orleans lady, welcome. Welcome to our group, my dear. I love the bunny. Oh my God, I love the bunny. My best friend is Year of the Rabbit, so bunny, bunny everywhere. Okay, everything's a bunny when it comes to that person. So, and in the bushes is here. Hey, 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 my dear. Hope you're doing good. See, she's hiding behind those. But see the little three bushes there? She hides behind them. You never know when she's peeking around the corner of the bush and just kind of doing one of those. So, anyhow, yeah, like I said, this was actually a subject that years ago I dealt more on. I had pretty serious depression years and years and years ago, and I've kind of dealt with it over the years. And I've learned how to, when I recognize something coming up in my life, I've learned how to, hey, Wrigley, come here. I've learned how, sorry, dog is getting very noisy all of a sudden. I've learned how to recognize the signs and symptoms in me when I'm starting to maybe deal with a little bit more depression, because I think it's something all of us. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys in chat, and I don't want you guys to say, oh, yes, I've dealt with depression or not. If you feel comfortable sharing that, please do feel free to. Um, but I think what happens a lot of times with us, all of us deal with moments where we are depressed. It might be a clinical depression, it may just be a downtime, things like that, but all of us do at different levels. And I think over time, a lot of us start learning how to recognize it, hide it, work through it. And also, what I came across was when I started looking at this subject, and sorry, I did not switch over my banners. There we go. When I started looking at this subject, I started realizing, for me, example, I don't take any medications anymore for anything. I used to, but back, many of you guys know I tried to have kids years ago, and I kind of stopped all my meds at that time, and I've never gone back on. But there are definitely times I've thought to myself, you know what, should I be back on something right now, or should I not be? And so when I started coming across the subject for today, and not just high functioning depression, but the non-pharmaceutical remedies, I was like, ooh, this is something I need. This is something I need to look in. Siren, when you're in a depressive episode, everyone knows. You know, I think that kind of happens with us here on YouTube, whether it's a very public, where it's okay, splashed across all the pages, or if it's just you guys see something and you're like, okay, that person's not quite acting their normal self. Or maybe through friends or whatever. Hey, PJ, love you, my dear. Mwah, love you. And so as we go into this, just a heads up to everyone, y'all know the rules. You start feeling bad, okay, contact 988. It's the most important number for all of us. No problem, butterfly kisses. It's the most important thing that any of us can do when we're feeling bad, is to call and have someone else be there to help us through issues, someone who's trained and can help us through all that. So please remember to call that. Step back if you need to. If something is triggering within you, step back. Okay, if it's like, oh, but I really want to listen to the rest of this, that's fine. It'll be here later. Okay, heck, even if I've fallen apart in a video, I still don't pull them down, as you guys have know very well. And it will be here for you. If there's information you want later, you'll be able to grab it no matter what. So high functioning depression. Yes, sleuth. Friends are great, but utilizing professionals is always the best answer. And you know, Sleuth Mom, that's what's key. And we're going to kind of address that a little bit at the end, because one of the, there's 10 different non-drug remedies, and one is going to be talking about friends and stuff like that. But it's also important to understand what's going on, and when you step from one level to another, when is it something that your friends can help with versus when is it something you need to see someone who is a professional. There's always, it's a hard line for people too. And PJ's lurking before bed. We'll see how quickly I put you to sleep. That's the key right there. So high functioning depression. Let me just ask this, and if you feel comfortable answering, answer. If not, yay, it's up to you guys on this. Have you guys ever felt yourself at times that you felt like everyone in the world thinks that you're happy, there's nothing wrong with you? I mean, everyone in the world would think you're just totally having your life's like that Facebook thing, okay, where everyone only posts the great stuff that happens, how they look wonderful in this outfit, and how they just went on this trip, and they never have fights, and they never do this, and all these other things. And yet in your head, you feel like you're falling apart. Something's not clicking. You're feeling depressed. You're feeling anxious, anxiety like crazy. Put a 1 in chat if you've ever felt yourself at that place. And I know within me, I am like, well, I can act very well. Okay, I can make people think that I'm totally fine when I'm falling apart inside. So usually when I'm falling apart publicly, I'm really falling apart at that point. There we go. Kermit the Frog has a one out there. Poor Kermit. Even with Miss Pig. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm losing it now. But anyhow, no, see, and that's it. So many of us were trained from the time that we're children to butterfly kisses. Yeah, exactly. And we're trained from the time we're kids, okay, to look okay. We have to look okay. We have to be coordinated and organized, and we have to be sitting there in class like we're paying attention at all the time, even though our mind is going off into a different place, like Seuss Mom's right now. No, kidding. But no, actually, that's part of the thing. I know with me, I'm not saying this is happening for you, my dear, but yeah, oh, blame the PJ. Definitely blame PJ. We always like to do that. It's so much more fun to do that. But no, so many times when our head is going with so many of the different things, and we all know the signs and symptoms of depression. And many of them do come down to not being able to concentrate. Okay, the things of not being feeling empty inside, stuff like that. So many times we have to train ourselves. And I think with a lot of people, the way that we you were sharing, so hey, you can share any old time, I'll take any number there. So what I was asking for both Sleuth and PJ, since neither of them were listening to me, no, okay, was, have you ever felt yourself in that place where you yourself felt like you were falling apart inside? You were really dealing with a lot of stuff, and yet you were around people who probably thought that you were totally fine, that you were in a great place, you weren't having a rough time whatsoever, but inside you were having a really bad time. Okay, Siren's like, I keep my feelings nice and repressed where they can't hurt anybody until they explode like a tsunami incident. That's me. That's me. Okay. I did this actually on the plane trip home. United went and changed my my seat to a seat, and if any of you guys know me, I don't do well when people walk behind me or to the side of me, so I purposely set certain seats for me. And United went and changed my seat, and I literally had pretty close to a meltdown. And for me, it was a meltdown. And because it's just too many things, okay, I was already dealing, I was exhausted, all these other things. And you got a smile on all this time, and then all of a sudden, everything, you hit that one little thing, and it throws you overboard. So a lot of us find ourselves with high functioning depression. Okay, we actively operate off of high functioning. That's what day in, day out is. Hey, Jenny, welcome, my dear. And so someone with high functioning depression basically is a person who functions well in their various aspects of life. Okay, even though I can't type, as you can see there, life, not lives, but life. Lives also, if you happen to be on YouTube. And hey, bitch talks. Love you guys. Love you and Jenny and everyone else. Um, you function super well. Okay, you are able to participate on YouTube. You've got your family at home and you are keeping dinner on the table and maybe keeping your job and, okay, doing great, having no problems at work. You're coming home, you're cooking meals, you're going and getting your exercise in, you're going and spending one-on-one time with your significant other. All these things you are doing on a normal everyday level, and you're functioning well. Things aren't falling apart. Yet inside, you have the symptoms of depression. Okay, you may be finding yourself feeling empty. You may find yourself, okay, not eating as well as you usually, more or less, not sleeping. All those different things may be popping up at that time, and yet no one would see it from the outside. PJ is saying learning coping skills is essential in building a toolbox and supports. Exactly. And what I'm hoping today, once we go through fairly quickly the different signs on how to recognize high functioning depression, is to give people some more skills for that toolbox. Because I don't care how long you've been dealing with these things, there's always more room for more skills and more tools in that toolbox. Because what worked for you even last week may not work for you this week. So having different skills is important. One thing with high functioning depression, I did want to point out is most of the time, high functioning depression comes in the mild to moderate category. It's not your major depressive episodes. Now, that's not saying it can't be. For some people, you can truly, I was the perfect example of this. Okay, I had a major depressive episode going on, and I was running facilities. And no one would have guessed until it got to a certain point that I was having any problems. Usually that comes if a person, hey Vicky, welcome my dear. Maybe the person who's dealing with it is used to living with a certain level of pain. And by pain, I'm mentioning, okay, thank you, Sleuth, very, very much. In fact, that's important enough that I want to highlight that. I am not licensed, guys. I've just been through shit like 90% of us here. And I know the best way to get through stuff is to listen to what other people do. And I learned so much from you. And so that's why I do this, is so that we can all help each other out. But I am not a professional. Call 911, 911. Well, call 911 too, but 988 if you have issues, please, please. And so sometimes there are people who they may not, they've never had to really deal with, how do I work? Okay, let me reword that. Hi, dog defender. Aloha. They deal with pain in a different way. Maybe they've lived their whole life dealing with, maybe they've had abusive issues. Maybe they deal with pain differently. We've all seen those people who can deal with, they could have, okay, a hand cut off and they're like, oh, I think I've got a cut. It doesn't hurt them in the least. They have such a high pain threshold. Well, it's the same thing with emotional pain. Some people have a very high threshold for emotional pain. They may have tons of practice. Okay, this is how they've lived their whole life. So they hide it very well. So there are cases where someone can have a major depressive episode and be hiding it very, very well. That happens. It does happen. And so important to know that. And that's why it's important to recognize that just because you look normal around other people doesn't mean that you may not need the help of a therapist or a doctor helping you with, whether it be pharmaceuticals or other things to help you get better and learn those skills that you need for that toolbox. Welcome back, Princess Megan. So just something, please remember, if you find yourself, even if you're looking like normal on the outside, you may still need the help of someone who understands. Masking, exactly, Grandma Sherry, and that's it. And many of us do it very well. Okay, I even said this to some friends recently, that there are some of us here, just YouTube, we can play it out on YouTube alone. There are some of us who can be out there saying, oh yeah, I'm really having a hard time with this, or I'm having anxiety, or I'm having this happen, or I'm having that happen. And sorry, I do have the bird behind me today, and she's taking a bath in her water. My kitty bird. Okay, you're going to see my kitty work her way up to the top of the, yeah. I'll put my head right there. And also, you have some people who are going to be very vocal about what's going on in their life. Okay, and letting people know I'm in a bad place. On the other hand, you may find yourself with people that aren't going to say anything. Does that mean they're not going through something? Some people are going to be very, very quiet. They're not going to let people know what's going on in their lives. So we never know what's going on inside someone else's personal life. Just because they're acting totally normal doesn't mean they aren't going through their own version of hell. And that's why I try to always treat people as if, you know what, I don't know what's going on in their life, especially if you see changes in behaviors and stuff. Dog Defender's answering my question of the day. Thank you, dog. You did it. You spend time with it. My question of the day was, what do you do to help yourself? Okay, when you're feeling down and all. Um, Dog said spend time with animals, help someone else, take a walk, listen to my favorite music, dance parties by myself. And you just hit so many of the things I'm going to hit, and I love it. Um, Kermit is saying, this is something I can hide very well. I'm always expected to be the life of the party. It's very difficult to put on that happy face. Yes. I wonder if I leave this function now, would it be? Yes. And that's it. Because you get to the point you can only hide it for so long, no matter what. Butterfly kisses, coloring helps. That's something I do too. I actually will color on, I do iPad, digital coloring, but I'll do that and it helps me calm down at those times. So, hey, thank you guys for answering that because that's how, again, like I said, that's how we learn is we talk and we share that way. So, some of the signs of high functioning, okay, depression, I'm not going to go through all these real slow because we know many of them. Okay. But first, just yes, Sherry, yes. Most comedians are depressed. They're traumatized. How many of us saw, okay, oh gosh, I knew I'd forget his name as soon as I did that. Robin Williams. Who I remember when he unalived himself, how I just sat here like, what? He looks so happy and all this stuff, and it's like, no. You know what? Yes, that's what he did. Sleuth was thinking who I was. Yeah, all you guys are thinking, there you go. He looks so happy. He looks so, and yet we were just putting what we saw because we judge based off of what we see, not what we feel many times. And yet, if you look now, looking back, yet you guys, you realized who I was thinking of. You realize looking back, I look at his last couple movies and stuff, and you can actually see okay, what he was going through because it showed on his face, even as an actor. Yeah, I miss him big time. And also, so the first thing I wanted to mention on signs would just be feeling, if you're finding yourself feeling down, irritable, sad, um, more often than not, this is high functioning is when it's really important to understand you and how you feel. Okay. I, for example, myself, when I know I'm starting to have issues, I tend to get very, very irritable. Okay. I will snap at not the people that I don't know. I snap at the people I know and care about. I will. I did it this morning. Okay. And I was just all of a sudden snap, 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 snap. The more comfortable I am with you, the more I'll snap at you when I'm starting to feel okay in that zone. So recognizing that about yourself, okay, and looking for that. Yes, PJ, his documentary about Robin Williams and yeah, it's amazing what people have and then don't share out, and it's important for us all to see that because we realize we're not alone in those moments. So another thing is recent appetite changes. Maybe and you guys, some of these things happen just normally. Okay, there's times that I just get irritated because, okay, maybe I'm super freaking tired and I just don't have the patience for things. Okay, those things, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily depressed, it just means I'm tired. But when it happens and you start noticing it's continuing over time, it's not going away or things like that. Um, Appetite. Maybe you're starting to notice that you are eating more or eating less, or maybe you're finding yourself going for foods because they give you that feeling of comfort. Okay, you're going to certain restaurants more often. Things on those levels. You're noticing these things and it's not like your normal self. Okay, it's not just like someone offered, okay, that special donut that you love and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that donut. No, it's other things and the emotion is tied to the food. That's when you start seeing those things. Or sleeping. Sleeping is a huge one. I don't know how many of you guys find when you're starting to deal with depression, you sleep more or less than you normally do. Um, I myself sleep a lot more. I want to be in bed. Okay, say I am sleeping. Yes, I hear you, little bird. Okay, say I am fighting off depression or something and I'm awake, more, bingo. And I will find myself as the day's going on thinking, I just want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. I want to go to sleep. I don't want to deal with, okay, as soon as I get to sleep, the day's over. The day's over. I don't have to worry about any of this crap anymore. And I can just not exist. Because when I'm sleeping, I'm not existing basically in my head at times. Yes, I'm dreaming, but yeah. Or I wake up in the morning. I never want to sleep. Okay, PJ's the opposite, doesn't sleep. And some people, that's it exact. And that's why it's important to recognize yourself. Okay, in the mornings, I never like waking up. So going off of that alone is not enough for me because I don't want to wake up anytime. I will lay in bed all day if I want to. But when I wake up in the morning and it's just this dread of the whole day, okay, I don't want to get out of bed because then I got to take care of this. I don't want to deal with any of these. I want to stay in bed all day. Or you get up and you're going back to sleep, taking nap. Kermit the Frog. Yep, exactly. Okay. Or you wake up, sleep 1 or 2 hours, Sherry. Yeah. See, and that's what, okay, you guys really got a great feeling for yourself and what your norms are. And that takes a lot of work and understanding yourself. So are you finding yourself sleeping, okay, or pushing off sleep so that you don't have to deal with certain feelings? Maybe you don't want to sleep because you don't want to lay in bed with all of those emotions hitting you over those last time while you can't go to sleep. So you stay up all day and you put away the whole idea of going to sleep because you don't want all those emotions. And so you got it, butterfly kisses. And that's, you know what, we're going to go through things and we're going to talk about when people do talk with others and stuff. So recognizing those things about sleeping more than usual, okay, or less than usual. Chronic pain, fatigue. Yes, those are two good ones there too. Oh, you're welcome, Sherry. You know, Sherry, I think that's the thing. Sherry, for those of you who aren't following chat, Sherry's talking about how it makes her feel like she's not the only one. And I think that's kind of why I started this myself, because I kind of felt like I was the only one. And yeah, I know I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I can talk with other people and kind of feel like, oh, you mean I'm not the only one who feels this way? I was just in someone else's chat. We were talking about how we used to think as kids that we were the actor in a movie and everyone else was just characters. And I thought that was just me. No, it wasn't me. There's other people who do that. So it really does help feel that, help push away that feeling. So another thing that does, for me at least, is this feeling that's really hard to describe of just having no energy whatsoever. Absolutely zero energy. You're up, you're awake, but you are completely worn out. It's hard to actually get up out of bed and go make coffee in the morning. Okay, it's hard to at the end of the day get up, even though you just want to get home, okay, and get away from work and all that. It's hard to actually get up away from your desk and get into your car. Okay, there's just no energy for anything. Now, don't get that confused with, sometimes that happens because you might have been sick. Okay, we are coming out of the winter months. Sorry, someone's upset because I'm putting a dog somewhere where there's treats. But right now we're coming out of that a time when a lot of us had the flu, a cold, COVID, whatever, and you may have found yourself, it takes months sometimes to get back okay from that. You may still be exhausted because you had the flu 3 weeks ago, and it may take a while to build back up. I myself right now just got back from, okay, Greece and all a week ago. I'm still freaking exhausted. My schedule is a mess on sleeping and all that. So yes, I'm feeling worn out and like I have no energy, but there's a reason for that. So you have to look at that. Is there a reason why you're feeling that way? And there may be, there may not. If there isn't, that's when you start thinking, okay, is there something else going on here? And the next is that just persistent negative self-talk. Okay, that all the time we talk about how we're our worst critic. You are your worst critic at level 550. Okay, thanks, dog. Thanks, Kermit. Yes, I need a vacation for my vacation. And thank you, my dear. Yeah, thank you, dog. Um, it's I'm horrible. I will sit there and I try to counter that. And then I feel like I'm being too nice to myself and I'm being all sugary and all that. I'm like, that's not me. And also, you try to find that thing because I can recognize in me when my self talk is getting bad again, when I'm starting to get really on top of my own case all the time. And if you can catch these things early, and that's why this whole discussion becomes so important, is because if we can catch these things early, we can pull out that toolbox that Sleuth mentioned earlier, and we can find that perfect match of different tools that might get us feeling better before it gets worse. Because that's our whole goal here, is to get better and feel better before things get worse. Okay, so keeping an eye out for that. Can you treat yourself with grace? It's okay to have negative self-talk at times. It's going to happen. You're going to come down on yourself at one point or another. But are you willing to give yourself grace? If you're not willing to give yourself grace, then there's something there that we need to address. There's something there you need to kind of look at. And we're going to talk about things like CBT, things like that a little bit later. But looking at that becomes so important. Okay, what about motivation? Okay, no, yes, Sherry, know thyself. If it's outside the normal, pay attention. Exactly, my Kai, exactly. I literally gave her a whole handful of popcorn and 3 Ritz crackers, and we're still being noisy. She was quiet the whole time, but yeah. Do you feel like you just don't have the motivation that you normally do? You know yourself, what you're able to do on a normal day. And some days you're going to do less, some days you're going to do more, but you know what your normal zone is. Are you finding that you have that emptiness inside you that has gone so far that you can't even motivate yourself to do things? Okay, yes, I've got to be I've got to be right on top of it at work. I know I've got to cook meals for the kids. I know I got to do this. I know I got to do all these things. Okay, but you just it, you don't have the motivation to do anything outside of the absolute basic for everything to look fine. Okay, this is required. Anything above that, whatever type thing. What's Siren up to? I'm motivated to run over these balloons. They're not worth points. Okay, no matter what everyone says, they are not worth points. I promise you. So are you just going through the motions? Okay, are you just motivated to do what the basic is, and outside of that, no, I don't want anything. That's what you're looking at there. Are your thoughts wandering aimlessly? Okay, are you disconnected? I find this is why I was joking with Sleuth and PJ so much at the beginning. And a lot of times when you're dealing with high functioning depression, okay, or any types of depression, you don't see things clearly. Your mind kind of wanders around. You can bounce from subject to subject to subject, which for some of us is totally normal. And but there comes this place where you're just really not focused on things. Okay, you may find yourself more often than not, okay, reading a book at night or an article for work during the day, and you read something and you're reading, and you're like, oh shit, what did that just say? And now you got to go back. And it's not enough you got to go back once. You find yourself going back multiple times because even though you're telling yourself, I got to focus on this, you can't seem to focus on it. Squirrel, bingo, Bingo, exactly. And I actually was doing that earlier. One of my, okay, when I was going through research for this, I was watching a video, and I think I watched the same portion 4 different times. Now, some of it was because mom was irritating me, some was the dogs were driving me crazy, but I could not multitask at that point. Read it aloud, dog defender. Yes, that's a good idea. Perfect. Okay, so that's something you might be looking for. And yes, reading out loud is a great idea. And next is you stop looking forward to things that you normally do. Most of us, from the time that we are kids, there are certain things that we look forward to. Okay, remember that feeling you used to get when you were in school and you were counting down the last days of school, and then you hit the last day of school and you were counting down the minutes until you hit that 2:4. For me, it was 2:45 is when school got out, or 2:20, and you'd be watching for it to hit. That feeling of like, oh my gosh, we're almost at the end of the day, okay, of the school year, or maybe, as an adult, okay, I'm getting ready to go on vacation, and you're all excited about it because every year at this time we're going to go on vacation, or there's a certain movie coming out. Okay, I'm a huge Marvel fan. Okay, so I get excited about Marvel movies when they come out. Yes, running, dog defender, running to the car, screaming, "We're out for school! School's out for summer." 2:36. Interesting. I love how everyone's got a different time. And so we have these certain things that even as adults we're excited for. I was excited for my cruise like crazy. Okay, but you find yourself not excited anymore. Maybe you're sitting back there and you're like, oh gosh, yeah, next month we're going to that trip to Disneyland. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. And in your heart, you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. It'll come. It'll come. It'll be down there. Sounds good. Butterfly. Sounds good. So, and you're sleuth feels when the kids are going to grandma's. Exactly. And also, you just lose that. It's not just motivation to do things. You're losing your excitement about things. Things you used to love and enjoy, you just don't enjoy them anymore. They don't have that enjoyment that they did before. Okay, and it takes everything to kind of just pull all that back. Okay, people don't realize it because you're like, oh yeah, I'll be going to Disney World next. Okay, right. Write down antecedents. Often you may see patterns. That's a good one. That's something I ought to talk about coming up here. Someday I need to work on some different things that we can talk about and just focus on 4 or 5 things, and that would be a good one. Because a lot of it, guys, is finding your patterns. What are the patterns? Okay, because it really makes a difference for you. Canine's here. I love you, Canine. Just turned 67. Not much excites me. That's what my best friend's dad says all the time. I'm like, oh, how you doing today? He's like, well, I woke up this morning. That's good. So I'm like, yeah, I guess that is true. And also, the next is just losing that drive to push for things to be better. Okay, one of the things I know about me, and most of you guys who know me know this, I'm I am not happy being a victim. I am not happy, okay, not looking for a way that I can better myself. Okay, because if I'm not bettering myself, I'm stuck, and I don't like being stuck. I like to be in charge of myself. I like being able to push forever. Is it K9's birthday? Or wait. Oh, we're just talking. Yeah, K9, when was your birthday? I need to know that because I think I missed your birthday. I'm sorry. I love you. Happy birthday. How old are you now? I don't mind. Yeah. And so there's this thing when all of a sudden, for example, for me, when I stop pushing to find the answer to something or how to deal with something, and I just accept that I'm going to be sad, or I just accept that, oh yeah, this sucks, or this, whatever it is, I know I am going into some level of a depression because the non-depressed loco will push her way through anything. Okay, I will try to find a reason. I will look for those patterns. Okay, I will look for what might work in my toolbox, and if that's not there, I'll find something else there. But the moment that I give up on all that stuff and I just accept is the moment that I realize I am losing that battle and I need to find a way to pull. back real quickly. And you may find out you're zoning out easily. Okay, this a couple of these things kind of fit together. Okay, you may find we all have the times that we're out with friends and someone has to all of a sudden say, "Loco, excuse me, loco." Okay, Earth the loco type thing. Okay, those things happen. But if you're finding it's happening more often, and you've got that empty feeling in you and all these other things, you're finding that puzzle pulling together to make this picture of high functioning depression, then you know something. And Dog is saying, sometimes I have learned environment plays a huge part. I need to build better boundaries so environments cannot impact you negatively. That's a good one because you're right. Environment, huge for me. If I'm at home versus if I'm at work, okay, if I was on the plane as compared to if I was who I'm with, all those things make a huge difference there. Um, so are people having to reach to get your attention? You wandering off mentally. Um, do you find, hey guys, shh, oh boy, yes. Do you find you are having to put on that face? Okay, we all know that face. Okay, someone asks you, "Hey, you okay?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing great today." Yeah, and then you start coming up with all these reasons why you're doing great, while inside you're screaming at the top of your lungs that everything is falling apart. Okay, are you feeling like you have to put on a happy? You don't always have to be happy. It's okay for all of us to have a day that we say, you know what? Something I'm trying to learn right now, and I've gotten better about it, about telling people, hey, I'm having a rough time myself right now. That's fine. I can be here for people. I'm okay. I'm still here as friends and all, but I'm having a rough time myself right now. And I need to, those times I have to have my boundaries up a little higher because I don't want to go further down that road. It's okay to not be okay. Exactly, Grandma Sherry. It's completely okay to not be okay. Okay, so are you putting on that front that does not match what's inside? Okay, are people able to make the connection that something's not right with you? Because that's when you know it's moved too far. Okay, people are recognizing. So those are on a quick level, not real quick. It took us 45 minutes for that, but that's a real Michael Myers mask. Hey, you never know what will happen then. Okay, got it, butterfly. And keep in mind that what you consume on TV, on YouTube. Oh shit, yeah, girl. Sleuth mom, keep in mind, just made the comment, keep in mind that what you consume on TV, on YouTube can also play a part. If you're consuming sadness all the time, it can make you sad. Hell yeah. Okay, this is what got me a couple weeks ago. Okay, weeks ago. Okay, over the last couple weeks. Okay, the more I focused on drama, the more I found my depression was running a full force marathon at the highest, fastest speeds I've ever seen. Because that's all I surrounded myself with. Okay, whatever we are around, depression likes depression. If you are just surrounding yourself with depression and you're already depressed, you're going to get worse. And that's why I've decided in my life, I cannot just be happy with being depressed or something. I got to find ways to get out of it. Okay, that's why we have to always be looking at, okay, that's fine. It's not something wrong with us. And it's not. It's not something wrong with us. It's something that's going on that we just need to find a way to work through. Amberly Rose, that's music. Music is such a huge thing. Yeah, okay, a couple of you, Kane, mentioned it also. Yeah, music is, certain songs can bring me down, they can bring me up, they can do all sorts of things, and it's important to recognize those types of things. Sleuth says, I can't watch reruns of certain seasons of Grey's Anatomy because I get super depressed. And I can, there's certain shows I love, probably shouldn't watch them, but I love watching SVU. I love it. I love the show. But there are certain shows on it. If I start watching it, I'm like, oh hell, I got to turn that off and I got to turn it off now. because I know it's going to send me down a wild goose chase of emotions that I don't need. Some days better than others. Some days I can watch it, some days I can't. So you have to really understand yourself, listen to yourself, and do what you know you need to do. And yeah, Grandma Sherry, exactly. You are what you eat metaphorically. Okay, same thing. Emotional as well as anything else. You are what you eat. Okay, if you're going to do nothing but sit around, okay, anger. Okay, anger. If I'm around people that are angry, I get angry. And the problem is with me, when I get angry, it does not come out externally, it comes inside. So why am I giving other people the power to make me angry? Okay, inside and turn it internally on myself. So I have to just stand up and say, no, guys, it's not worth it. I can't do it. So moving with that, now that we're all kind of getting that idea of recognizing when we are dealing with high functioning depression, recognizing most times it is your mild to moderate depression. It can go higher. Now we need to take a look at what are some of the things we can do about it. Because honestly, gang, I don't know about you. I am not the type that likes to jump straight to medications. I'm not a, yes, I take medications for things. Okay, I do take medications for things. Okay, I'm diabetic, for example. Okay, you take medications. But if there's a way I can deal with something without the medication, I'm so much happier about it because there aren't as many side effects and things like that. And if you're dealing with something, okay, like I said, that's mild to moderate, yes, you may need to already talk to a doctor and get on something, and that's awesome. Okay. I've been on antidepressants in my life. I've been on them before. There's nothing wrong with being on them. But especially if you're already, okay, Vicky, okay, if you're already on a lot of meds or things like that. And as we get older, we're on a lot of meds just because we're getting older. Okay. It's like, okay, there's your high cholesterol. There's your high blood pressure. Here's this, here's that. You want to be more careful about other medicines. So if there's ways you can treat something without it, hey, that's awesome. And so one of you just Amberly, you just got back on them because your anxiety. And you know what? Recognizing when there's been a few times I've had to ask myself, girl, is it time for you to talk to your doctor about it again? Okay, not for long. Maybe it's only for a shortened period of time until you feel comfortable and you feel like you've kind of gotten, because what those medications do is they kind of help you get to the place where you can use the rest of those tools. And because the tools are there to help you. The tools are there to help you. But unfortunately, sometimes the emotions get so hard that the tools alone may not be enough. And so I'm happy that you were willing to do it because I've known so many people in my life who aren't willing. They're like, oh no, I can do everything on my own now. Yeah. So I'm really happy that, yeah, you can do that and recognize when you get there. And sometimes for me, it's looking at the tools that I have that are non drug. And if they're working, great. If they're not, okay, time for me to go talk to my doctor. And so when we talk about non-pharmaceutical remedies, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, in general, non-invasive and low to no risk options. Okay, now not all non-pharmaceutical are low to no risk. Okay, there are some that might have risks. For example, the first one I'm going to talk to could have serious risks for people in certain health areas. Okay, so it's important to know your body. But in general, they are non-invasive. They're not something that you're going to be, okay, getting surgery for, stuff like that. Okay, they are things that anyone can usually do. You don't need a special prescription form or anything like that. And the key with these is trying them and experimenting with what's going to work, because I guarantee you there's certain things on this list that don't work for me. They do not work for me. I've tried. People will come to me and say, have you ever tried this? And I'm like, yeah, I've tried that and it doesn't work. Okay. So some work and some may not work now, but have worked in the past or vice versa. It happens. So the first one I'm going to mention is probably the one that most of us, when we hear, we're like, I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear about that. And that is the E word, exercise. Okay, we hear this over and over and over. That, you know what, if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, things like that, get out there and exercise. Like I said, for some people, this could have a risk. Okay, if you have health issues, it may not be a possibility for you. Okay, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. For some people, it is not a possibility. Okay, but if you find other ways to do it or limits to it, nothing says exercise has to be running a marathon. Exercise can be different for different people. Okay, in general, what you want to do is get your heart rate up. Okay, 20 to 30 minutes of exercise will usually do that. You get your heart rate up, your brain releases endorphins. We like endorphins. Endorphins are fun, they're nice, they make us feel happy. And so you want to get those endorphins up. And exercise is a proven way to do that. It is proven that you can do it. Now, heart rate is different for each person. Some person, okay, might need heavy, heavy exercise to get their heart rate up that high. Others actually might not have that. Okay, they might be able to just walk around their house and their heart rate gets up. But they're getting those endorphins released. Though it's not enough just to do it for 3 to 5 minutes or something like that. You need that prolonged. 20 to 30 minutes. The endorphins come out and you feel good. There's things called, okay, the runner's high. You guys have heard of that one before. Hey, Robbie, I love you. Love you, my dear. The runner's high, you're out there, someone goes running, and then they get that high from running. That's why so many people actually get addicted to exercise, because it gives you the same freaking high that so many other things can. I love you, Robbie. Okay, I've had friends, okay, before when I was younger, who he did marathons nonstop and he was addicted to exercise to the point where his doctors had to say, you got to slow up. This isn't good for you at this point. You've crossed a line. And so you can replace this, okay? It doesn't have to be the runner's high. It could be the dancer's high. It could be, I said the dancers. It could be the walker's high. It could be, you name it. What are some of the things that you can replace it with? Well, running. You could walk. I love to walk. I don't do it enough, but I love to walk. Yoga. Yoga actually, especially for those people who may not be able to do the heavy, heavy physical things, yoga, tai chi. You may find yourself getting to that place, and yet you're not having to get really heavily into that cardio side. And chair dancing. Oh my God, Sherry, yes. Sherry, totally. Yoga, meditation. I'm catching a couple things that people are mentioning in chat. There's so many options out there. Workout videos. I literally will sit here with the bird, okay, usually standing on something, and there's a certain song and dance to the Broadway show Six, and I've got the whole dance memorized. Okay, I would never do it in front of people, but I will sit here with it playing here on this laptop, and I'm doing the whole singing, dancing, all that, and my cardio is full force at that point, and the birds singing along, the dogs are running around and all that. It works, and research shows. Oh my gosh, watching crab leg mukbang. You know what? Someday I gotta watch a really good mukbang. I've never really gotten into. I really never, but I gotta try it someday. So, achu. Oh, you see, that raises your. Actually, achooing would actually stop your heart for a millisecond, if I remember right. But yes, so, and that's true. Siren, finding a time on a regular basis is hard. It is hard. Okay, I'm the first one to say it's really hard to find a scheduled time. The key from research, and this is real research, guys. This is one of the most researched things when it comes to ways of treating on a non-drug remedy. You sent me one. Yes, I'm going to watch right after. Yes, I will. Research says if you do 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, you name it, you fill in the blank for yourself, 3 to 5 times a week, okay, it is as effective as at treating mild to moderate depression as an antidepressant. Okay, yes. Is it easier to take that medication? Oh, hell yes, trust me. If I was given the choice between the two, I probably would have been like, okay, yeah, give me the medication. And but as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that's probably not the best decision for me. And plus, I know my body with antidepressants, I get used to them, and I'd rather not get used to them. Okay, that way when I do need them, they're available for me. And also, that's the other thing. Yeah, okay, and that's it, dog. Finding just 5 minute walk. Just go up, do a walk. You got a dog, take a dog for a walk. Go to the store. That's why so many senior citizens do mall walking, is they do that all the time. So yeah, just going out there, find something you enjoy to do. Okay, I've been telling my mom, just walk up and down our stairs a couple times a day. That's all she's got to do. Okay, just try to find something and keep moving on to it. Oh my God, I've got to watch that one, Robbie. I'm so watching that. Next, and this is one that's not as much for me, but I do remember this from when I was in Colorado. Light therapy. Let me ask, put a one in chat if you or someone you know deals with seasonal affective disorder. Okay, that's something that's kind of come about in the last 20, 30 years or so. Um, but it's basically this idea that when we are not dealing with a lot of light, okay, so for example, during the certain times of the month where the sun sets really early, winter months, things like that, that we tend to get down. Okay, Sleuth has a one there. Okay, we'll see how many other ones we get popping up in the next few minutes. Um, it's something that they're really, I remember when it first came out, I think it was in seventh, eighth grade when I first heard about it. I was in Colorado at the time. And people laughed at it, kind of like fibromyalgia. People laughed at it at first, and then they realized this is a real freaking thing. And if there are people that, because maybe they live in an area that's very cloudy with very little, we know vitamin D in the sun and how good it is for us. So what they've created now are these SAD lights, SAD lights, vitamin D to help. Bingo, exactly. So you can buy these lights and you can set them up. And if you're finding that okay, high functioning depression might be tied to seasonal affective disorder. And you have it really bad all winter, canine. Have you ever tried the lights by any chance? I'd be interested in that because I heard about the lights a few months ago for the first time. I had not heard about them before. And, but they become very, very beneficial to those people who live in areas where it's dark quite often. Grandma Sherry has a sad light. You put a smile and googly eyes on it. Oh my God, yes. You got to take a picture of that and share that with us, my dear. Adult magnesium. Ooh, thank you for sharing that. Oh, here comes a puppy who wants backup. You want to say hi to? This is one of my non-drug remedies right there. That's probably my number one non-drug remedy right there. So having that and recognizing that light makes a difference. One of the areas they're discovering is Amberly Rose. It's something that you don't hear about a lot unless you're kind of looking into it. What they are finding though is we've heard about highly sensitive people, HSPs. People who are HSPs, highly sensitive people, tend to be affected more by light. So if you are an HS, they are full spectrum lights. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And a person who is an HSP, having less light is going to affect them more. So if you find yourself as an HSP, you might find and recognize that. Maybe you don't realize at this time, yeah, you know what? I do tend to get depressed at this same time every single year. Okay, a lot of us tend to have certain things that happen at certain times of the years, whether it be, okay, SAD, okay, whether it be, for some of us, it's certain times of the year have certain anniversaries. Okay, to me, I have certain anniversary times that really will throw me into a funk, and I will be in a funk and not even know it. Okay, I will have no idea what it is, and then I realize what it is. Okay, did it, dog defender. See, there, and see, magnesium, I take magnesium every single night because I get bad, bad cramps, not just in my legs. I'll get toes, feet, legs, arms. I get cramps like crazy. So I do magnesium at night for that. And so Curve the frog sits by the happy light in the morning with coffee. That's your best friend. Also good for indoor plants. See? Good reason to have it. So the next thing you guys can take a look at doing is balancing your brain. What do I mean by that? Yes, I mean taking the brain out, putting it on the scale. Okay, mate. No, no. Okay, we all know that we love to focus on negativity. Our brain will focus on negativity over positivity any day. Okay, we would rather hear negative news about something than positive news. We would rather get mad and upset at something, at ourselves even, okay, than be good to ourselves and treat ourselves with grace. Okay, we need to balance our brain. How do you do that? Well, remind your brain that there's good stuff in the world. If your brain weighs as much as a duck, then it's made of wood. And oh my God, Siren. And also, so what you can tend to do is remind yourself that there is good. Now, we're not going to sugarcoat. It's not all about telling yourself about how awesome this is and how pretty pink everything is in the world. You got glitter and you've got this and that stuff. No, it's not about that. It's not about lying to yourself or making you think that things are so much better than they are, because honestly, that's going to make you feel worse in the end. We all know that feeling of opening up Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and seeing how this one person's life is so amazing and all that stuff, when we know, just don't want to accept the fact that their life probably sucks as much as half of our lives do too. They just are never going to tell anyone, because then it wouldn't be interesting. Okay, and they wouldn't look so good. So go through that and tell yourself, okay, at the end of every day, I'm going to sit down. If you can write it down, all the much better. 3 things that went well during the day that you had a part in. Okay? It's not talking about all the good that someone else did. Okay? Yes, it's what you did. What did you do that turned out good? Okay? It could be something such as, okay, I woke up this morning and I made myself an amazing cup of coffee. That easy, okay? Robbie knows we've done this before, okay? We've actually done gratitude work. This is kind of like a gratitude work from a little different angle. Okay, so what, you made a great cup of coffee. Maybe it's something that you were there with someone else, okay, and someone was having a really rough time, and you were able to talk with them and help them feel better without crossing your own boundaries or making yourself feel worse. So you found that middle ground on how to be there for a person, yet not overstep boundaries that you were trying to put in place for yourself. Okay, maybe it is, okay, you went out. I did this last night. I went out and I wore a whole outfit that I haven't worn in like 3 years. Okay, because I had gained weight. And also those types of things. Just write 3 of them that you had something to do. It doesn't have to be world changing. Like I said, I made a good cup of coffee this morning. Or you know what? I had a bunch of dishes in my sink and I washed all those dishes. That's all you got to do. And next is, oh, Dog says, there's a channel that shows only feel-good stories about a man who goes around blessing people that most wouldn't speak. Oh, wow. I need to find that one out. Yes, because I'm skinny mini now. I'm so I'm hoping I can keep it that way. I am totally trying to keep it. Yes, Siren, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going, don't you? So next is cognitive behavior therapy. This is one we've talked about, and I need to get more and more in depth on this one for y'all. Cognitive behavior therapy is really showing a lot of promise when it comes to helping people with depression. Okay, research is showing that CBT can be as effective, okay, when it comes to depression as psychopharmaceuticals. Okay, a lot of thanks, Dog, definitely, definitely. Sherry, we're passing around rumors here now. We are, aren't we? Hey there, brutally honest. How you doing, my dear? Hey. And so with cognitive behavior therapy, there's a lot of thoughts behind it. Like I said, I need to do some videos kind of working through the process. There is one amazing YouTube creator out there. Her name's Julia Christina. She's amazing. She is actually licensed where I'm not. She is. And she just does amazing work when it comes to CBT, helping people understand different things. So that's one place you can go look for it. The basic thoughts behind cognitive behavior therapy is our thoughts create our feelings. Okay, our feelings are going to drive our behaviors, and our behaviors influence our outcome. We can break that down much better at another day. And ooh, now that one would be good. The edible version might not be too bad either, Sherry. You know that? But we are talking about non-drug. Yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about a spice in a few minutes, though. And so just go through that in your head, following that thought process in your head, because it does make sense, especially with depression. Your thoughts are creating what you are thinking is creating how you feel. Okay. Those feelings are then going to decide how we're going to behave in response. And then those behaviors are going to make the difference when it comes down to what the outcome is. So if we can work through that and get rid of the unproductive, unhelpful thoughts that we have in our heads, those thoughts that really stop us from really being successful. Hey, Oscar. And they really help us with things. Okay, we can actually work forward on that. We really can start figuring out how we are going to work through issues. And, and brutally honest, there's so many different ways that work for different people. It's like even exercise. Some of them can become, okay. Again, you're talking exercise, you're talking all sorts of things. So very possible. Addiction, it also too. So it's kind of like the same with exercise. It can also become an addiction too. So it's really, we got to know when we're dealing with these things, it's understanding where we are and where we're going. You really have to understand yourself and what works best for you. And so the next one, this one is a little different. A lot of us think automatically, oh, you're dealing with depression. Well, you know what? Just meditate and practice mindfulness and stuff like that. And that is an interesting thought, okay, because it does work. But the thing is, where the research is showing is that where mindfulness meditation works best is preventing a relapse. So right now I'm in a very good place. Right now is when I would focus on meditation, mindfulness. I would be looking for the apps. There's some amazing apps. We mentioned this last week. Okay, awesome apps that you can pull for your phone to help you with meditation or mindfulness. Okay, now's when you do that, when you're in a good place. That's part of your exercises per se. You have your exercise, and then you have your mind exercise, physical and mental. So, but recognizing that's where that really comes into play, but it's still helpful. The next one I want to mention is one that's really interesting to me. This is where I was kind of alluding to Siren about earlier. I agree, dog. And that's why it's important for us all to kind of really understand our own self and everything, whether it is helpful or going to be hurtful. Something like that could be very helpful or very hurtful for a person. Understanding is good. Siren, yes. And so saffron. Let me ask this. This I did not know about till this morning. How many of you have heard about taking saffron for depression? Put a 1 in chat if you've heard about saffron for depression. Put a 2 if you have never heard of taking that for depression. Because I was a 2, literally. I've heard of other things. Okay, I have heard of a lot of other stuff, but I've never heard, yes, the Calm app is amazing. amazing for mindfulness and all. Okay, we're getting some twos in here. This is something I'm going to try. I definitely want to try it, but I need to research it. And guys, this is the thing. When you hear things, you need to research. Do your own research. Don't just believe people, even me. Do your research. Okay. What I'm finding, and in fact, real quickly, this article here, actually, let me do this so that I can share it with you guys. This is one of quite a few articles I found out there on this after I saw the video about it. What they have found is that okay, saffron, like many other herbs, okay, I live in Hawaii. Okay, Chinese herbal medicine is very, very, it works. It works. There's some really good Chinese herbal medicine stuff out there, stuff I'd swear by. And but it's also important anytime you're dealing with herbs or stuff like that, you check in with your doctor, make sure it's not something that is going to interact with medications. And yes, canine saffron is freaking expensive. It is expensive, and so I'm not sure if it comes out as a pill now or whatever. But they're saying, from what I understand, that according to one study, they were able to look at 15 milligrams BID twice a day, and it was actually showing benefits as compared to people who were just on antidepressants alone or were on nothing at all. Okay, a placebo. And so it was really interesting. Take a look at that article. If this is something that sounds like me, it sounds interesting. It's something I want to look more into, but I want to look into it a little bit more. If you are interested in talking about anything that we're finding out through this research, okay, or want to discuss research you're coming up with, here is my Discord. Please feel free to come join us there, because we don't just do the missing people there. We do have a whole section for mental health. And if people are interested in talking and supporting each other, right there's the thing. Next area I wanted to mention was sleep. Okay, sleep is one of those things. We talked about it being one of those signs that, okay, that, oh, you're sleeping too much, okay, or you're not sleeping enough or whatever. The problem with sleep a lot of times, and why it's so important here, is that sleep deprivation can also mimic signs of mild and moderate depression, not dementia, depression. And so it's really important for us to get sleep. One of the first things, if you're finding that you're dealing with what you think is depression, is check whether or not you might be needing sleep at this point. Okay, talk to a doctor, talk to a therapist about stuff to see what might help you. Maybe you're not getting really, really good sleep. Maybe you're getting 8 hours of sleep, but it's really messed up. Yeah, Discord can be a little confusing. And if you want to try it, it's a non-drama zone where we just hang and we have fun, stuff like that. We'll help you out with it. If not, I totally get that too. So good saffron is extremely expensive. The stems are worthless. Really, Siren? Interesting. And they were talking about what that one article I was talking about was actually talking about what areas was that they were looking at and also, and so definitely interesting. I want to take a look. You had a dog. I had an herbalist who does acupuncture, acupressure, cupping scrapes. Yeah. And see, that's it. Dog, you just hit it on the, you wanted to love it, but it just didn't work for you. And that's the thing. I mean, I have done acupuncture and it hasn't quite worked for me. Okay, some of the herbs have worked for me, some don't. And it's just finding those. So with the sleep bit, talk to doctors, try to figure out what might work for you. But sleep will often help you. If you're getting really good quality sleep, you might find yourself working out better with that. Next, create a schedule. Okay, structure tends to make us feel better. Think about in your life, okay, when you feel best is when you kind of have something to aim towards. You kind of have, there's a reason why children love structure. We do as adults too. It's just we kind of lose a lot of structure in life. Structure to us tends to become waking up, going to work, coming home, doing chores, going to sleep. Okay, that becomes structure. But if we can create a schedule, okay, it gives us a chance to see what it is we want to do in our lives. What is it that we want to try to succeed with? So maybe creating a to-do list, okay? The ability to do checkoffs. Okay, maybe right now I'm working on creating a store for these fun things, all my diamond painting stuff and all. Okay, I was having problems. I was all over the place, but I created a checklist and I find myself able to follow that checklist now. And I feel better about myself at the end of it. So it really helps within that scheduling. So find ways to help yourself with that, whether you're going to schedule yourself by tasks, minute to minute during the day, time block, whatever. The last two things I'm going to mention, and then we are done until Cantina starts in about 40 minutes, gang, is talking to people. Okay, and these two are going to go together. Try to find yourself a friend. Okay, someone you can trust and talk to. Okay, find a person who's going to listen to you and they're going to support you. Now, when I say this, though, important bit here. Some of us have a lot more to talk about than others and need a lot more support than others. And I can be that way. When I've got a lot going on in my life, I need a hell of a lot more than one person. Okay, because I don't want to overwhelm that one person. That one person might be dealing with a lot of crap also. So you don't want to have to be, so you might need a team of people that you can bounce around and have multiple people help you. But when that person reaches the point where they're like, I'm not in the place for this right now, okay, you still have other things out there. Because what you don't want to do is overwhelm people as you're doing that. But having a friend, having a trusted person that you can lean on when you need to lean on someone is one of the biggest blessings a person can have in their life. Now, tied to that, exactly, Amberly Rose, and that's what's important. Amberly is saying, true locomai, maybe it's too much for one, and it does. Even for the most amazing person who wants to help and all that, all of us have to take care of ourselves. And we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of other people. And also finding ways, the same way that person's there for you, you're now there for them by saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to go talk with someone else right now because yeah. And the other thing you can, though, do is look for a supportive community. Okay, all of us have different communities we belong to. Okay, it could be a church group that you belong to. It could be a gaming group. I have a group of friends that play games together. Knitting group. We got a couple people here that love to knit. Maybe, okay, one of my aunties has a quilting group that gets together once a week. And maybe it's the online group. Okay, there are online support groups. Julia Christina, who I mentioned, she has her shifters group. Okay, and it's a group of people who come together, okay, to try to find a way to become better at whatever they are fighting with. Okay, you want to find a place where you are not alone. Okay, and you have something in common with the other people, and they can help you with that. Okay, they're there for you. They'll listen to you. Okay, they'll share ideas with you and stuff like that. Now, the key I'm going to warn people about, and this happens with individuals as well as groups. I've talked about in my past, back in the early 2000s, I belonged to a kind of online support group. And we truly, honestly became more of a problem than, for many of us, than making it better. And the reason why was that group became a place where rather than people being there to help, it became a dumping spot, a place for people to come and dump and dump and dump. And it became a place where we were all trauma bonding. Okay, trauma bonding, whatever the type of bond it was. That's what's. Hey, Aussie True Crime, welcome, my dear. And Canine, good question. If anyone does have any experience with online therapists, maybe we should do a live on that one day. That'd be a great. I don't have experience on one, but I'd love to know if anyone has experience on online therapy and might be willing to talk, please send me a message because it might be a great little discussion point for us to. Grandma Sherry, you do. BetterHelp.com, is it? Thank you. Thank you. That because that's actually something I know we all share when we are talking with people and we want them to get the extra actual licensed or skilled treatment, if that's where that comes in. So ideally, what you want to do when you're finding these supportive communities, you want to find a place where everyone is committed to working on their issues. Okay, they're there to support each other. Okay, and not a place where people are getting stuck in the negative, or the I do not know how to type, do I there, or downward feeling. We all know what that's like, okay? Put a one in chat if you've ever been part of a group where you started recognizing all you guys were there for was to sit there and talk about how bad my life was, or oh, this is bad, or this is bad. And no one was really there to try to figure out a way to come out on the other end. They were just very, you don't want to say happy being in that down place, but they were so focused on the down place, they weren't able to look at all this other stuff they could do to come out of it. Put a one in chat if you've ever found yourself in a group like that. It was something I did not realize at the time, and it took me. That was when I was at my worst, and I think the reason why I was at my worst was because that's exactly what was happening with that group. And that's why I'm so focused now. Whenever I'm having an issue, I'm like, no, 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 no. I am not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a survivor on this. I'm going to find my way to work through this. And so remember, depression feeds off of depression. So when you're looking for those people you're going to talk about, do that. Okay. Remember, depression's going to feed off of depression. Okay. To come out on the other end of depression, you got to pull yourself out of it. How do you do that? Look for these remedies. Look for different things. Add in the pharmaceutical if you need to. Okay. Amberly Rose, one, not online though. And that's true. That's why it doesn't have to be online. Okay, we've all talked about groups where maybe it was, I think I heard someone telling the story that they had joined an AA group, and the AA group turned into nothing but a place for people to pick up other people and for dates and stuff like that. So see, you start getting, rather than working on issues, they went, if anyone knows AA, that's probably not the best thing for you to be looking at that time. And so keep those things in the back of your mind. So this has been a little longer live. I know that there was a lot of stuff to go over in this. And we will be going on to Cantina in 30 minutes. So I'm going to kind of pull this all together pretty quickly here. And, anyone have any takeaways for today? And I do have a bird that is not going to last here during Cantina because he is being noisy, aren't you? You can't see everyone. Well, you guys can see the windows. So I know with me, it's looking, no worries, Oscar. I get you, my dear. I get you. So I know with me, I'm really going to be taking a look at certain things like the whole idea of saffron. That is, so maybe there's some new things. Okay, it's been so many years since I dealt with heavy depression. Oh my God, I keep saying it. That I think I need to look at some of these other options that are out there now, because there may be some more tools I can grab onto. So, but we will be doing Cantina in 36 minutes. So I do have this set up to send you guys straight to Cantina. So if you don't hit any buttons, you will be waiting for us when we start. Dog is saying, now for them, depends on the child and the therapist. I would go to Psychology Today online, find a therapist, and see if someone specializes in what you are seeking for a person. You get a 15-minute free interview. Interesting. Yeah, I was talking to someone just the other day, especially one of the issues I was talking to someone about was free therapy or more affordable therapy. There's a lot of people who are hurting right now financially. How can you get therapy when you don't have insurance? How can you get therapy when you don't have extra money that you can pay copays and stuff like that for? So that's something I'm trying to do a little bit more work on. Amber Lee's takeaway is that I need to continue to try to exercise. Yes, makes me look and feel better even if I don't. And it's true. The exercise does make us feel and look better. It definitely does. And K9 Siren, the problem here is there are so few in person. And that is happening more and more. I am noticing that also. Try free life coaching on YouTube. Hey, free life coaching on YouTube. Now, of course, if anyone would like to join our memberships, they can join our no, okay. I do have memberships, but it's not for free life coaching. Yes, Siren, I'm going to get in touch with you. I'm supposed to do a craft one of these fairs this weekend, so I'm trying to get out of that right now. So I'll let you know. Nami, does Nami have free therapy? Okay. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you. Dog, we're here every Friday to go over these things. Seriously, if you guys have subjects you'd like us to talk about, like I said, DC is wanting me to talk about a certain subject right now, and I'm going to do some research for that. If anyone has subjects they'd like, let me know. Because I do run out of ideas at times, definitely. So, and let me know if you guys have ideas. So, otherwise, I will see you guys in. Oh, my watches are different. This is 5:23. That is 5:26. Well, no matter what, I'll see you in just over 30 minutes. Yes. So, no, actually, in the bushes, sometimes that is it. Because when we find a great community, life coaching kind of comes around when you have friends and that you can go lean on and kind of help you with things. So join people that you care about and see if they can kind of help you. If you're open to it, it always works. So thank you guys so much. I will see you all in just over 30 minutes in Cantina. I am going to go deal with this one and put the bird back because I do not think he's going to last all the way through Cantina tonight. So aloha. I will see y'all later. And in the bushes, we gotta talk. I gotta work my way through. Look, would you not kiss me on the lips? Yuck. Oh yeah. No. Okay. Talk to you later. Good night, guys.